the strongest swordsman ever lived had a son. Yes, I am talking about Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in the current era. Of course, I know he is not the main character of the series, but what if his son can be the main character instead of him? Okay, so this story is going to be so crazy that you will forget the original series. So better you don't miss this out. As you all know, Shanks and Mihawk both are equal in their powers and IQs. But in the original series, Mihawk, the poor guy doesn't have the same hype as Shanks. But in this story, he does have much more hype than Shanks. So we all know Shanks and Mihawk had many battles in their past. After one of them, Mihawk meets a lady in the Fuchsia village and successfully has a kid with her. And that kid is none other than the rubber boy Luffy. Wait, he is not the rubber boy now. He is just Luffy, or maybe we can call him Dracule Luffy. Mihawk already knew that he cannot surpass Shanks in his entire life, so he trains Luffy from the beginning of his childhood to surpass Shanks and Mihawk himself. We all need to admit that Luffy got the best sensei in the whole anime-verse. So, Luffy now is a rival to Shanks and Zoro, as well as Zoro would also be dreaming about the same goal. After 16 years of hardcore training, Luffy became a professional swordsman. He now can easily defeat many above-average marine captains all by himself. Now in this timeline, Luffy's ultimate dream is not even close to becoming the Pirate King. And also, he neither has the strongest devil fruit inside his tummy. In this case, Luffy's only true power is in his sword and in his skills. Don't you forget that he has already developed his ultimate observation and conqueror's haki at the age of just 16 years old, which is actually insanely crazy in my opinion. Now, it's time to set sail for Luffy. So, his father, aka Hawkeye Dracule Mihawk, sends him off by giving him his black hat. So, in this alternative storyline, Luffy doesn't have his straw hat, which was given by Shanks in the original series. So I think that the straw hat would still remain with Shanks. And talking about the Gum Gum fruit, it is still being protected by Shanks and his crew, stored inside the treasure chest. Now Luffy starts hunting every swordsman around the East Blue to collect their bounties and to make his name reach higher. In this scenario, Luffy doesn't want to make a crew. So, what about the straw hats? I don't think their life will not be as joyful as in the original series. We might be seeing some of the straw hats joining Luffy's allies in this storyline. But I'm sure of one thing. Luffy's ultimate goal now is to become a warlord, just like his father, and then to achieve the title, the greatest swordsman ever lived. Coming back to the story, one day Luffy enters the Shimotsuki village to meet Zoro, but now, not to be friends, but instead, he goes to defeat Zoro and collect his bounty. He finds Zoro in the Marine's capture, tied up exactly like we have seen in the original series. But the Luffy present here is nothing like the kind Luffy we all know. So, he immediately strikes Zoro with his blade. Every Marine over there rushes at Luffy to stop his second strike on Zoro. But Luffy wipes out every single man standing out there and destroys the Marine's place completely. He was not willing to kill Zoro there, but instead, he ties him up with more ropes and drags him along with him to collect the bounty, which was on Zoro's head. While he was taking Zoro to the bounty office in his small ship, he sees a random pirate ship on the sea. And as we all know about Luffy's stomach, it suddenly starts making weird sounds as usual. So, Luffy goes into that pirate ship to get some meat and bread. And as like in the original series, he finds Kobe, but in a different way and in a different time. He instantly asks Kobe to hand over every piece of meat which is present in the ship. But Kobe there explains that he is in the ship of Alvida pirates, and they are going to kill both of them if he does that. Luffy smiles slightly and goes directly for Alvida. After seeing a Luffy, Alvida and her crew starts attacking Luffy. But Luffy easily dodges every kind of attack and cuts everyone with his premium sword. He grabs the meat and already starts eating him. Kobe was so impressed with Luffy that he instantly asks him to take him with Luffy. Kobe was willing to do anything to follow Luffy's path and be his disciple. Luffy rejects him, first thinking that he would totally a drag for him. But after seeing his kindness and curiosity, he allows to be with him, as Luffy also doesn't have a good navigation skills. Luffy and Kobe get into their own small ship. After putting the remaining food supplies into a bag, Kobe sees Zoro tied up with ropes and asks Luffy, is he really Zoro? Luffy says, yes, he is really Roronoa Zoro, and I defeated him single-handedly. Kobe was too frozen after knowing the true power of Luffy. With Kobe's guidance, Luffy takes Zoro to the bounty office, leaving Alvida and his crew behind. Her bounty was too low compared to Zoro. They successfully reach the bounty office and goes in to collect the bounty which was on Zoro's head. The little they knew. After defeating Alvida pirates and destroying the Marine's office, the Marines had instantly placed an incredible amount of bounty on Luffy's head as well. So, when he shows Zoro to the bounty officer, the officer was too shocked and pressed the emergency call button, which gave a signal to guards and lower-level Marines that the criminals had arrived nearby. Kobe explains to Luffy about that red button, that the red button which he pressed summons 100 of marine soldiers, and they all will be after Luffy and Zoro as well. Luffy instantly understands the situation and tells Kobe to run away along with him. They also untie Zoro, so he can escape with them as well. They all together successfully escape from there and reach an unknown island. Luffy gets a backslash from Zoro unexpectedly, and Luffy was not so happy with that and draws his premium sword as well. Both of them are ready to fight each other, but Kobe stops both of them and tells them that this is not the right time for revenge. They both realize it and put their swords back. They all heard an unknown voice from the above cliff, which was nearby. The unknown man asks, "Who are you all?" Luffy screams, "My name is Luffy, and I'm gonna be the greatest swordsman ever lived. And why don't you show up in front of me?" And the unknown voice which came from behind was Usopp's voice. He stands in front of Luffy and tells him they are in the Syrup Village and confronts all of them with his lies. Usopp says he is a brave swordsman as well. We all knew that Usopp is a great liar. He tried to fool Luffy and Zoro so he can play with them. Luffy laughs and says, "I never heard of a swordsman named Usopp." Usopp gets angry and underestimating Luffy. He uses all of his clown tricks and attacks on them, but none of them worked against Luffy and Zoro. Usopp automatically surrenders to them and says he is nothing but a great liar. Usopp helps those three to hide in the Syrup Village for a month, and unfortunately in this period of time, Luffy, Zoro, Kobe, and Usopp become a great group of friends. They all decide to continue their journey together, but the rivalry between Zoro and Luffy would remain the same as they share the same goal of becoming the greatest swordsman. As they are enjoying their journey to the next island, Zoro randomly says, "I am going to kill Mihawk one day and become the #1 swordsman." Luffy reveals that Mihawk is his father, and Zoro leaves his face so surprised as never before. Luffy also says to Zoro that he has to surpass him first before reaching out to his father. Both of them smile casually, looking at each other's faces as they are great friends now. The next stop for this newly created pirate crew is Zeph's Barati. But wait, we can't call them pirates because it actually doesn't make any sense. Luffy now doesn't want to become the pirate king, nor does he now collect any log poses to find the next island. So, what can we call this crew now? Maybe a bounty hunter's crew. Let me know in the comment section below. But whatever we call them, the government would still mark them as a pirate crew because of their destructive actions and traveling throughout the sea illegally. After entering the Zeph's Barati, they absolutely meet Sanji off course, but as a regular waiter and a cook. You know, Sanji doesn't have much screen time in this scenario. As we expect, the unexpected happens. Mihawk alone slashes through a random pirate ship and enters Barati. Everyone who was present over there was shocked, including Luffy and Zoro. Without wasting any seconds, Zoro draws his sword and runs towards Mihawk, just exactly like he did in the original series. Something unexpected happens here. When Zoro's sword is about to cut Mihawk, Luffy blocks Zoro's attack with his premium sword and reminds Zoro that he has to defeat Luffy first, before touching his father. Both of the hunters are angry now. Luffy haki overflows the entire area. As we all know, Zoro is still not that strong against this version of Luffy. So, Zoro couldn't bear the Conqueror's haki that Luffy had. So we see Zoro fainting instantly here. Mihawk asks Luffy who that kid was. Luffy says, "Dad, I have made a crew on my own now. He is my rival, of course, but we are friends now. So, we are a part of the same crew. We share the same goal, and I feel he is like my elder brother." Mihawk smiles and says, "Good job, kid. You just made some friends and a brother. You are not alone like me." The words of Mihawk touch Luffy's heart. After spending some time with his son and his new friends, Mihawk leaves from there. As the day has passed, Zoro wakes up and starts crying that he missed his opportunity to fight Mihawk. Luffy comforts him and says, "Zoro, remember, we are friends. And remember, even I am not as strong as my father. Even I want to surpass him." They both make a deal with each other after they totally destroy the world government, which is hunting them. They're going to fight against each other, and the one who will win the fight among them is going to fight the undefeated swordsman Hawkeye Mihawk. The Black Hat crew now leaves Sanji and starts heading towards the next island, which is Arabasta. In this scenario, I don't think they're going to meet Nami and Chopper because, you know, in the original series, it was totally Luffy's luck to meet Nami twice. As there is no Nami along with them, they won't even go to Chopper's place as well. Because in the original series, the only reason for Luffy to climb the mountain is because of Nami falling sick. So it's no Nami, no Chopper. You guys must be wondering, if there is no Nami and Chopper in the career, who is going to navigate the ship and treat their wounds and injuries? Well, I think that Kobe can play both roles as he is a very fast learner and the most intelligent among those four. And there is no need for Luffy to make the crew bigger because, you know, the crew was formed unfortunately, and they are not participating in the race of finding the One Piece. Their only goal is to nerf the government and build a Sigma organization, which is similar to the goal of the Revolutionary Army. So, we might see an alliance between these two groups. After reaching the Arabasta Kingdom, Every move of the Black Hat crew was being observed by Crocodile and his Baroques. As Luffy is now a big shot, there are two choices for Crocodile to make. The first one is to form an alliance with the Black Hat Pirates and replace Luffy and Zoro as Mr. 1 and Mr. 2. If Luffy doesn't accept their deal, Crocodile just wants to finish them and collect their insane bounties. What do you guys think? Well, that's it for the part 1, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I will be posting part 2 as soon as possible. So, subscribe to not miss this insane thriller timeline.